Situated amidst the arid deserts of Palestine, the Dead Sea stands as a uniquely vibrant place despite its harsh surroundings. While its name suggests a lifeless void, the Dead Sea has long been a destination for those seeking physical, mental, and spiritual rejuvenation. With salt concentrations nearly 10 times higher than regular seawater, the Dead Sea offers healing benefits for the body and attracts visitors with its unique buoyancy that allows them to float effortlessly on the water's surface. However, in recent days, the Dead Sea has become the focus of a miraculous event that many believe fulfills an ancient biblical prophecy. This phenomenon has reignited discussions about biblical predictions, divine intervention, and their implications for the future. For centuries, the Dead Sea has symbolized judgment and the consequences of sin as it lies near the valley of Siddim, where the Bible recounts the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah by fire and brimstone from heaven. The lifelessness of the Dead Sea has been seen as evidence of the moral decay and divine intervention depicted in biblical history. However, the recent transformation of the Dead Sea not only reflects a physical shift, but also suggests a deeper spiritual meaning of renewal and restoration. It demonstrates that even in seemingly hopeless situations, there is potential for life to emerge. For pilgrims, the Dead Sea is more than just a natural wonder. It is a spiritual connection point. The sight of fresh water and new life in this historically barren area has renewed their faith in God's power and the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. This event has sparked hope and a longing for the promised era of resurrection, when all things will be made new, as the Bible foretells. With these ongoing changes, the Dead Sea has evolved from a symbol of the past to a living testimony of what the future might hold. To many, it serves as a reminder of nature's regenerative power and the promise of restoration, both physical and spiritual. Standing before this transformation, many are now seeing the Dead Sea not just as a representation of judgment and desolation, but as a living testament of hope, renewal, and divine intervention in the human world. What is truly happening at the Dead Sea that has captured the deep interest of Christians around the world? Could these recent signs be indicators of upcoming changes, and how do they align with biblical teachings? Traditionally known as a barren and lifeless area, the Dead Sea has recently witnessed the surprising emergence of fresh water and signs of life. This unexpected development has revived long-standing discussions about biblical prophecies. Many believe it could be the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy, signaling a period of renewal and restoration. Before we delve deeper into these intriguing questions and uncover the hidden meanings behind this phenomenon, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel to stay updated with the latest information. Let's join hands in spreading God's message, bringing light and hope to these extraordinary times. The Dead Sea is not just a salty body of water in the midst of the desert. It is also a rich archaeological and religious treasure, deeply intertwined with the ancient history of humanity and spirituality. Surrounded by a stark and barren landscape, the Dead Sea draws biblical scholars and archaeologists from all over the world who come here to delve into its history and sacred significance. Often described as a place that is easy to enter, hard to leave, the region is not just challenging to explore, but also has an irresistible allure because of its deep historical and spiritual legacy. Near the Dead Sea, visitors can explore notable historical sites like Masada Fortress and the Qumran Caves, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in 1947. These scrolls contain precious records of the Old Testament, dating from the 2nd century BCE to around 70 CE. The scrolls relate to most of the Old Testament books, providing deep insights into the history, literature, and religion of the time of Jesus. This discovery is considered one of the most significant archaeological findings of the 20th century, as it not only provides evidence of the existence of the Old Testament in ancient times, but also sheds light on the traditions and beliefs of the Jewish people during that era. In the Bible, the Dead Sea serves as the backdrop for many significant historical events. One of the most notable is the Battle of the Kings described in Genesis 14:3. This battle took place in the valley of Siddim, near the Dead Sea, where the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zoar joined forces against King Kedorlaomer and his allies, including the kings of Elam, Goim, Shinar, and Elasar. The valley, known for its bitumen pits, became a natural trap during the battle, leading to a disastrous defeat for the armies of Sodom and Gomorrah. Some soldiers fell into the pits, while others fled to the mountains. This event not only marks an important moment in ancient warfare, but also highlights the strategic role of the Dead Sea in biblical narratives. The Dead Sea is also the site of the infamous destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, two cities renowned for their sinfulness and depravity. According to the Bible, God decided to destroy these cities with fire and brimstone, reducing them to ashes. The surrounding area of the Dead Sea thus became a symbol of divine judgment and punishment. The extreme salinity of the Dead Sea, which prevents life from thriving, adds to its sense of barrenness, as described in the Bible. It is seen as a testament to the consequences of moral decay, while simultaneously hinting at the possibility of future renewal. The Dead Sea not only holds value in the past, but also plays a significant role in prophecies about the end times. In several prophetic books of the Bible, the Dead Sea is mentioned as a sign of the apocalypse. The prophet Ezekiel describes a future time when living waters will flow from Jerusalem to the Dead Sea, transforming its salty waters into a fertile ecosystem, with fish and plants growing along its shores. Similarly, the prophet Zechariah predicts that living water will flow from Jerusalem to the Dead Sea, symbolizing comprehensive renewal and rebirth of this land. The revival of the Dead Sea is regarded as one of the clearest signs that the end times, or the eschatological era, are near. According to the Bible, the restoration of the Dead Sea will coincide with global renewal and mark the clear onset of the end times. This phenomenon conveys a message of hope and restoration, suggesting that even the most barren places can be revitalized through the power of God. The transformation of the Dead Sea carries not only physical significance, but also serves as a testament to the power of faith and divine intervention throughout human history. Let's go back to the 1960s, when regular monitoring of the Dead Sea began through meteorological observations. During this period, scientists noticed that the water level of the Dead Sea was receding by about 1 meter each year. This marked the start of a slow death for the once mighty saltwater lake. The southern part of the Dead Sea, which is shallower than other areas, had already dried up years earlier, leaving behind a massive salt field dotted with brittle columns of salt-encrusted rocks, reflecting the harsh rays of the sun back into the atmosphere. These salt columns, which were once submerged underwater, now bake under the blazing sun daily, becoming increasingly dry and fragile. With each strong wind, they crumble one by one. This raises an important question. Could the ancient prophecies written in the Bible thousands of years ago eventually come true? According to these prophecies, a day may come when the Dead Sea will shed its final drops of water, leaving behind a barren seabed. In the past, despite its name, the Dead Sea was sustained by fresh water from the Jordan River, the largest river in the region. The Jordan River played a crucial role in diluting the Dead Sea's extreme salinity caused by evaporation, maintaining a minimal ecological balance. Every year during the wet season, hundreds of millions of migratory birds from the cold north would gather at the mouth of the Jordan River, resting for a few days before continuing their journey. According to Jewish and Christian traditions recorded in the Bible, the Jordan River was where John the Baptist, a Jewish prophet, appeared to announce the coming of the Messiah. It was also here that Jesus Christ was baptized. For pilgrims from around the world, the Jordan River is a sacred site, a place where they can scoop up a handful of its holy water. As the situation of the Dead Sea became more dire, nations surrounding the area discussed possible solutions at the Global Summit on Sustainable Development in Johannesburg, South Africa, in 2002. Israel and Jordan proposed a bold solution, constructing a 200-kilometer canal through the desert to connect the Red Sea with the Dead Sea. The proposed canal, known as the Red Dead Canal, aimed to transfer approximately 1.8 billion cubic meters of water from the Red Sea to the Dead Sea annually. The goal was to gradually raise the water level and reduce the salinity of the Dead Sea, providing a lifeline to restore this unique yet rapidly declining body of water. However, this hope is tenuous. The revival of the Dead Sea relies not only on technical solutions, but also on the political situation in the region. The Middle East has long been plagued by conflicts and animosity, and without mutual efforts from communities around the Dead Sea to ease tensions, international goodwill could easily be overshadowed by violence and warfare. The well-intentioned plans could be destroyed by modern artillery fire or the heat of homemade bombs. The restoration of the Dead Sea is not merely a matter of natural recovery, but also a symbol of international cooperation, peace, and consensus among neighboring nations. It requires strong commitment from governments, international organizations, and, most importantly, from the local residents around the region. For many, the Dead Sea is not just a geographical site, but a symbol of spiritual revival and reconciliation. The Dead Sea holds deep historical and religious significance, serving as a testament to the severe natural changes that can occur due to human activity and climate change. If the canal connecting the Red Sea and the Dead Sea is realized, it would represent one of humanity's greatest efforts to restore an ecosystem that has been deteriorating for decades. It would not only help reestablish a natural balance, but also send a powerful message about humanity's capacity to address environmental challenges and build a more sustainable future. Have you ever imagined that the Dead Sea, renowned for having the highest salinity in the world and the ability to buoy the human body, could one day decrease in salinity, even becoming a freshwater sea? This seemingly impossible transformation is recorded in the Bible. The prophecy about the sweetening of the Dead Sea is found in Ezekiel 47:1-12. According to this prophecy, a river will flow from the altar in Jerusalem. Water was flowing from under the threshold of the temple toward the east, for the temple faced east, and the water was flowing down from under the south side of the temple, south of the altar. The scripture continues, describing how this river will flow eastward to the plains and eventually reach the sea, causing the waters of the sea to become fresh. Wherever this river flows, all living things will thrive and fish will abound. The sea, once unable to sustain life, will transform into a freshwater source, abundant enough for people to catch various kinds of fish. Fishermen will stand along the shore. From En-Gedi to En-Eglaim, there will be places for spreading nets. The fish will be of many kinds, like the fish of the Mediterranean Sea. The prophecy goes further, describing a vibrant ecosystem emerging around the Dead Sea. On both banks of the river, all kinds of trees bearing edible fruit will grow. Their leaves will not wither, and their fruit will not fail. Every month they will bear new fruit because the water from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will serve as food, and their leaves for healing. This vision speaks of a grand miracle that will occur in the future when the salt flats, currently inhospitable to life, will transform into a flourishing haven. It is believed that only God has the power to turn death into life. The miraculous rebirth of the Dead Sea is symbolic of the revival of Israel, the land of God's chosen people. Today, Israel faces immense challenges, including devastation from conflicts and attacks by hostile forces. Yet the prophecy promises that God will come to restore the land and His people. It is a vision of hope and renewal, where God's arrival in glory and power will mark the end of suffering for His followers. No longer will they endure the pain caused by wars and disputes. Instead, they will rejoice in the light and guidance of God. The barren and ruined land will come to life, filled with vitality. This prophecy of the Dead Sea's transformation is not just a physical change, but also a profound spiritual renewal. It symbolizes complete transformation, turning desolation into a place of abundance and blessing. It is a testament to hope, faith, and divine intervention in the lives of God's people. The new life in the Dead Sea represents the promise of a brighter future, where pain will cease and peace will reign. The Dead Sea, long seen as a symbol of death, will instead become a symbol of life. This remarkable transformation is not only a natural miracle, but also a sign of a new era, as promised by God. It will be a time when the prophecies in the Bible come to fulfillment, affirming God's power and His covenant with His people. Despite the current suffering, the land of Israel will experience a rebirth, becoming a new paradise filled with life and blessings, as foretold from ancient times. Are you thinking that the apocalypse is just a distant concept reserved for some vague future, and not something happening right now, right in front of you? Stop for a moment, and I will show you that we might already be living in those supposedly distant days of the end times. When people think of the apocalypse, they often imagine a sudden, catastrophic event where the world collapses in an instant, with half of humanity perishing due to war, disease, and natural disasters. However, reality might be more complex than that. The end times may not be a sudden moment, but rather a prolonged period, with signs that emerge gradually, so slowly that we fail to recognize them. What we see around us, wars, natural disasters, pandemics, might seem like the usual events that have occurred throughout history, not enough to be called the apocalypse. Because these signs appear so slowly and seem so ordinary, we often overlook them, assuming the end is still far away. Yet Jesus warned that he would return at a time when no one is paying attention, like a thief in the night. In the Bible, prophets like Ezekiel and Zechariah foretold that in the end times, living waters would flow from Jerusalem to the Dead Sea, transforming this salty body of water into a lush, life-filled environment. While this sounds like an impossible miracle, the recent appearance of fresh water and signs of life in the Dead Sea has stunned many. A place once barren and lifeless now shows signs of revival, aligning with ancient prophecies being fulfilled in our time. This phenomenon has not only captured religious attention, but has also intrigued scientists. Experts explain that it is happening due to the formation of sinkholes around the Dead Sea. These sinkholes occur when fresh water from underground sources seeps into the ground, dissolving the salt layers beneath and creating large voids. As the sinkholes fill with water, fish and plants begin to thrive, creating a stark contrast to the desolation that has defined the Dead Sea for centuries. For many, the Dead Sea has long symbolized desolation and death, a place where nothing can survive due to its extreme salinity. But this miraculous change raises a profound question. What could cause such a dramatic transformation in a place previously incapable of sustaining life? It appears that something extraordinary is happening, a shift that could be a sign of a much larger event. Some believe that the revival of the Dead Sea signals that the end times are near, as described in the prophecies of living waters flowing into it. Whether one is religious or not, the changes at the Dead Sea are undeniably unusual and extend beyond simple scientific explanations. They stand as a vivid reminder of nature's resilience while symbolizing restoration and renewal, even in the harshest of conditions. The apocalypse does not always manifest as sudden destruction. It could be a series of gradual changes that humanity, due to routine or indifference, fails to notice. Events like the revival of the Dead Sea do more than alert us to the vulnerability of our world. They remind us of the warnings found in the Bible. While we continue to live with the assumption that everything is stable and normal, subtle changes beneath the surface might be bringing us closer to the very days predicted in ancient scripture. The transformation of the Dead Sea might be viewed as a miraculous realization of old prophecies, or it could simply serve as a reminder of human and planetary fragility. It is a call to be prepared for the changes that lie ahead, not only physically, but also spiritually. Whether this transformation is a sign of the apocalypse or not, it still stands as a powerful testament to nature's ability to recover, and to the possibility that prophecies long considered distant are slowly becoming reality before our very eyes. The miraculous revival of the Dead Sea is not just an unexpected natural phenomenon, it also carries profound religious and symbolic significance, especially when considered alongside the revival of Israel and the Jewish people in the end times. In the Bible, the return of life to the Dead Sea was prophesied thousands of years ago, particularly in the books of Ezekiel and Zechariah. They describe a living water flowing from Jerusalem, sweetening the Dead Sea and transforming this salty body of water into a thriving ecosystem. This prophecy speaks not only of a natural miracle, but also serves as a metaphor for the restoration of Israel and the Jewish people in the final days. Israel, the Holy Land and the ancestral home of the Jewish people, has endured countless historical upheavals. From the dispersion during the Second Temple period to the waves of migration and eventual restoration in the 20th century, the Jewish people have faced immense suffering and challenges. However, the return of the Jewish people to their homeland and the re-establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 is seen by many as the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. From a barren and conflict-ridden land, Israel has gradually revived and flourished, becoming a prosperous nation in the region. The revival of Israel is a testament to the power of faith in God and the resilience of the Jewish people, even in the most difficult circumstances. The revival of the Dead Sea, a place known for its extreme salinity and absence of life, represents an unparalleled natural miracle. The transformation of the Dead Sea into a freshwater, life-filled body of water symbolizes the renewal of the Jewish people, who have experienced centuries of exile, oppression, and dispersion, but have ultimately returned to their land, finding new life and blessings from God. Just as living water flows from Jerusalem to revive the Dead Sea, God's promises of restoration have also been realized through the return and development of Israel. Both of these revivals are connected to God's promise of comprehensive restoration in the end times. The revival of the Dead Sea is seen as a sign of great changes to come, when God's kingdom will be established and global restoration will unfold. Within this context, the revival of Israel and the Jewish people is an essential part of this divine plan, signaling an era of prosperity and peace that the Bible has long foretold. This is a time when ancient prophecies are not only coming true, but also inspiring faith, hope, and commitment to God, reminding us that even the most barren places, whether physical or spiritual, can be restored through the power of renewal and God's grace. The recent discoveries at the Dead Sea may surprise you. In 2011, a team of Israeli and German scientists made an unprecedented discovery: a system of freshwater springs beneath the Dead Sea. At a depth of around 30 meters, they found fresh water emerging from several holes measuring about 10 meters wide and 13 meters deep. These holes were covered with mats of microorganisms, including some bacterial species that were previously unknown to science. Danny Ionescu, a scientist at the Max Planck Institute in Germany and a member of the expedition, said that the existence of microorganisms at the bottom of the Dead Sea astonished the team, as scientists had long believed that life could not survive in such a harsh environment. He noted, "While no fish can survive in the Dead Sea's water, the microbial mats covering much of the seabed are remarkably diverse. This discovery is not just a breakthrough in science, but also sparks thoughts about ancient prophecies related to the Dead Sea. The book of Ezekiel long foretold a river flowing from the temple in Jerusalem, bringing living water to the Dead Sea and transforming its salty waters into a thriving ecosystem. However, the river Ezekiel described is not visible on the surface, but flows underground, silently and powerfully, bringing revival to the Dead Sea. This imagery closely aligns with the freshwater springs discovered in 2011. These underground springs serve as a vivid metaphor for how the events leading to the end times could unfold quietly without our awareness. As mentioned earlier, signs of the apocalypse do not always appear in dramatic or immediate ways. Instead, they may emerge slowly, like the hidden springs that are silently reviving the Dead Sea. We might not recognize or pay attention to these changes, but that does not mean they aren't happening. The revival of the Dead Sea is not merely a natural phenomenon, but also a miraculous realization of ancient prophecy. It symbolizes the restoration not only of the land, but also of spirit and hope. For those who believe in the Bible, the resurrection of the Dead Sea is evidence that prophecies from thousands of years ago are gradually becoming reality right before our eyes. However, this phenomenon also serves as a profound reminder of the vulnerability of both humanity and the planet. The emergence of fresh water and microorganisms in such a harsh environment highlights nature's incredible resilience, but also its fragility in the face of human impact and climate change. We must prepare ourselves, not only physically, but also spiritually, to face the changes that lie ahead. The revival of the Dead Sea, whether considered a sign of the end times or not, is a powerful testament to nature's capacity for renewal. It shows that even in places that seem barren and hopeless, life can emerge unexpectedly and vigorously. This reminds us of nature's adaptability and regenerative potential, urging deeper reflection on the impact humans have had on the planet. For many, the revival of the Dead Sea is more than just a natural event. It carries a spiritual message. It suggests that prophecy is not just abstract words, but can manifest in reality through small yet meaningful signs. The hidden freshwater springs beneath the Dead Sea symbolize how significant changes can occur quietly, steadily, but no less powerfully. As the conflict in Israel intensifies, the world's eyes are focused on this land. Millions of people across the globe are watching Israel with deep concern, offering prayers for those enduring the devastating impacts of war. Israel is not just a small nation caught in the midst of the turbulent Middle East. It is also the homeland of God's chosen people. In the Bible, the Jewish people are referred to as God's chosen nation, recipients of his promises and blessings since ancient times. The Bible's prophecies assure that Israel will ultimately triumph over its adversaries, no matter the pain and hardship they may endure. God is always beside his people, protecting them during times of peril. No matter how fierce the conflict becomes, the prophecies assert that God's people will emerge victorious in the end. They will overcome all challenges, and God will bless them, even in the darkest times. In the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 20, God promises Israel, "I will drive the northern army far from you, pushing it into a parched and barren land, its eastern ranks into the Dead Sea, and its western ranks into the Mediterranean Sea, and its stench will go up, its smell will rise." This prophecy not only assures God's protection, but also suggests that the barren and desolate region of the Dead Sea may play a significant role in Israel's struggle. The Dead Sea, with its dry and salty nature, could become a natural battlefield that engulfs Israel's enemies, a place where hostile forces will have no escape. In the final battle, this region could symbolize the ultimate victory of God's people over evil forces. But the prophecies do not stop at the promise of military victory. They also speak of restoration for the people of Israel. In Joel 2:25-27, God further promises, "I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten, the great locust and the young locust, the other locusts and the locust swarm, my great army that I sent among you. You will have plenty to eat until you are full, and you will praise the name of the Lord your God, who has worked wonders for you. Never again will my people be shamed. Then you will know that I am in Israel, that I am the Lord your God, and that there is no other. Never again will my people be shamed." This promise offers immense hope to the people of Israel, a nation that has faced harsh trials throughout history. From exile to devastation and expulsion from their ancestral land, they have endured countless hardships. Yet with God's presence, they will not only survive the brutal wars, but will also be restored in both material and spiritual ways. Israel will be compensated for the losses suffered in the past, and the Jewish people will no longer face hunger or shame. This prophecy speaks not only of temporary victory, but of a complete revival of Israel in the end times. God's presence among his people will serve as living proof that he is their only protector and that there is no other God. Israel will be blessed, no longer subject to disgrace or humiliation among other nations. Amidst the current conflict, these prophecies bring hope and faith to the people of Israel, affirming that they are not alone and that God will stand by them in their most difficult moments. With God's protection and guidance, Israel will achieve not only military victories, but also the peace and blessings promised by him since ancient times. Though the path ahead remains filled with challenges and trials, the belief in God's promises will be the strength that helps Israel overcome all obstacles, leading them toward a future of prosperity, peace, and abundant blessings. The destiny of Israel and the revival of the Dead Sea are two parallel stories rooted in history and biblical prophecy, both carrying profound meanings of restoration and renewal. Israel, the homeland of the Jewish people, has endured wars and challenges for thousands of years. Following the destruction of the Second Temple, the Jewish people faced exile and dispersion worldwide. However, the return of the Jewish people and the re-establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 is considered a prophetic event, representing the rebirth of a nation once scattered and marginalized. In the Bible, Israel is described as God's chosen nation, recipients of his promises and grace. Prophets like Ezekiel foretold that the rebirth of Israel would not only be territorial, but also spiritual. Israel would emerge as a prosperous and strong nation, overcoming both internal and external challenges. Today, Israel has risen to become a significant economic and military power in the region, with a thriving economy and a formidable presence on the international stage. This progress not only reflects the efforts of the people of Israel, but also serves as evidence of the prophecies of prosperity and renewal that God promised them. The revival of the Dead Sea, a body of water known for its extreme salinity and inability to support life, is also part of the ancient prophecies found in the Bible. According to Ezekiel 47, a river of living water will flow from Jerusalem to the Dead Sea, transforming its salty waters into a life-filled environment. In recent years, the emergence of freshwater springs and signs of life at the Dead Sea have astonished many. These discoveries are not only scientific achievements, but are also seen as the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. Sinkholes appearing around the Dead Sea are the result of fresh water from underground sources, creating new habitats with microorganisms and some plant species beginning to thrive. This starkly contrasts with the previous barren and desolate image of the Dead Sea, bringing hope for nature's capacity to recover. The revival of the Dead Sea is not only a remarkable natural phenomenon, but also a spiritual miracle, symbolizing the restoration of both the land and faith. The destinies of Israel and the Dead Sea are intertwined with prophecies about the end times when God will return to restore order and bring eternal peace. Israel and the Dead Sea together illustrate the power of faith, resilience, and hope for restoration. The Dead Sea, long a symbol of death and desolation, is now becoming a symbol of life and renewal. Similarly, Israel, once devastated and exiled, has emerged as a thriving and vibrant nation. The stories of Israel and the Dead Sea are living testaments to the promises in the Bible about renewal, affirming that no situation is beyond hope. Both demonstrate that no matter how difficult the circumstances, life can emerge from death and desolation. These are messages of hope, perseverance, and divine intervention in the world. The revival of Israel and the Dead Sea symbolizes a future where life and blessings prevail, bringing hope not only to Israel, but to humanity as a whole.